Welcome to Royal Secrets. She set the bar high. Summer Princess Anne pays a loving tribute to the Queen. In a never-before-seen ITV interview that was aired for the first time on Sunday, Princess Anne complimented her late mother. The Princess Royal discussed her mother and the Queen's marriage to her father, the Duke of Edinburgh, during the 2017 interview. She added that she approved of how the Queen handled Princess Diana's burial in 1997, which occurred during a trying time for the firm. The former Olympian claimed in an interview with ITV royal editor Chris Shipp that her mother led by example throughout her 7-decade rule. She uttered, "It was more about acquiring the experience, going to the proper places, continuing on, and having your eyes and ears open to understand how to do it. If you had a query that was specific, which was true of some occasions, it would surely be important. There was a part of us figuring things out on our own. However, you could seek assistance if you asked. There is nothing wrong with it." The Princess Royal disagreed, claiming that employees of the firm are not necessarily prepared for a royal position. She uttered, "In that regard, there is no handbook. Instead, it is about learning and listening, not forming judgments and definitely not imposing your will on others." According to Princess Anne, her mother personified everything that the nation stood for since the world appreciated the principles she upheld. She uttered, "People don't really change all that much, but they do recognize those whose dedication has remained steady because they are aware that those standards do not shift." The ability to recognize and adhere to one's actual ideals while letting go of passing trends and understanding the underlying principles that underpin society and the connections between individuals, which are crucial, is, in my opinion, a great talent. The Queen faced harsh criticism for choosing to stay at Balmoral Castle with Charles, William, and Harry in the days after Diana's passing, rather than going back to Buckingham Palace. The young princes were kept in Scotland as they processed their grief, according to Princess Anne, who asserted that her mother done absolutely the correct thing. She uttered, "It truly amazes me that any parents with a clear head would think that there would have been a better option than bringing those kids to London during all the hullabaloo. I simply don't understand how you could believe it would have been a wiser course of action. Neither of those two could have or would have been able to deal if they had been somewhere else. The fact that they were there, had that support system, and were surrounded by understanding individuals allowed them to take advantage of the limited time they had, which was never going to be much, to attempt to come to terms with what had transpired, even if only momentarily. Most people wouldn't be able to achieve that in those areas, let alone kids that age." The Princess Royal, King Charles, and other senior members of the royal family hurried to be by her mother's bedside on Thursday. Just 3 days later, on Sunday, the Princess Royal traveled for 6 hours behind the hearse transporting her mother's body on its last leg through Scotland as the King's Guards practiced their march for the Queen, crying soldiers throw flowers at the horses. Before the Queen is laid to rest on Wednesday, the King's Guards were seen practicing how they will escort her remains from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall. Sally Nugent, a presenter for BBC Breakfast, said seeing the King's Guards rehearsing last night for the Queen's procession was quite incredible. She showed pictures of the guards practicing in front of Buckingham Palace and said the noise was phenomenal and the sound made by the guards' drums in honor of the late monarch was so loud, deafening in fact. Ms. Nugent said this while speaking in front of Buckingham Palace. "I just want to show you some amazing pictures of the whole military practice for the parade that we captured only a few hours ago, right before sunrise here at the palace."